So we're really talking about, maybe a future of different technology because we can rely upon a steady supply of this particular soft metal, as an alloy for aluminum that we're not even dreaming about right now because it makes no sense. Why put a bunch of efforts into like a DARPA-like project for Scandium into aluminum alloy for some advanced technology if you can't have a dependable supply? So I'm curious, have you guys done any testing to see at any of your facility if Scandium is present?
So two answers to yourself. One, it is present. We already know this. There was a 2019 JORC done by the company who's actually doing our current 43101 technical report for our first maiden resource estimate, where they already showed that there were scandium readings. I actually brought it to a Canadian scandium company, an explorer, showed them the numbers, like, this is interesting, that's economical. Problem is, none of the processing currently in the country is going for the scandium. So you can have it, but then how do you extract? Or how do you get paid for it? So that's one part. It's definitely there. It depends on where our specific area is, of course, is it there? But that, I strongly believe, is going to be one of the futures of the laterites, especially the lower grade limonites. But the biggest thing is what you just mentioned. That same individual I spoke to, I interviewed with him years ago. That's when I first started thinking about scandium. And he said everything you just said, in the sense that it's incredible what you can do to it, how it can revolutionize air travel. You can make airplanes 25-30% lighter. So imagine the fuel economy savings.
Yes.
But how can you have, I won't name the company, but one of the companies came to him and said, okay, what can you give me 10 years from now? What can you give me right now? I'm going to do a pilot. I'm going to give you several $1 million to build a pilot airplane, and I'm going to test it. It's going to be great. How fast can you go into production? Give me 10 years. What company is going to do that? It's very difficult. So it's a cat and mouse. The chicken or the egg, what comes first? We know it can revolutionize travel, but we also know that we don't have a steady supply of the actual refined scandium, let alone even the ore. What do? Well, byproducts. Scandium is a byproduct of things like aluminum and nickel as well. So you can start looking into, okay, if you can take a laterite and you're selling it for the nickel, because you want to make it to MHP, you want to make it into the mat and all these different intermediates, that's already economical. You're already making money on it. Now it makes a lot more sense to say, okay, well, why don't we do some R&D, build out a modular to this processor where now we can do it in a way where we can take out the scandium. You start getting a supply of scandium. Now you can start approaching the various different companies saying, hey, we now have a pretty steady supply. If you think this could work, go through the R&D, we'll be able to supply that. And we can ramp it up if you need to. I don't think there's enough use cases like that as of right now. And I don't think any of these companies are willing to put the money up for it. I just right now, or else they would have. And I think that a lot of the producers are saying, well, if there's no market for me to do this, why would I put the R&D into doing it? Why would I stockpile this stuff off the side when I don't even have a buyer for it? Right? So it's going to be something I believe will be solved because we need things to be more efficient. We need them to be lighter. We need them to be stronger, better for the environment around us. Who's going to make that first step? So quite frankly,
it's got to be the United States government. I mean, we've got to be able to say for our strategic reserve of rare earth minerals that we've got to fund this, right? Because this is a national security issue. What's that?
Like you do with the oil, exact same thing.
100%. You got to have a strategic reserve because what if something bad happens and you can't get it from your current Middle Eastern sellers? I mean, this has been a problem that we've seen before. I mean, it's an ancient problem. I mean, how did they get the alloys out of ancient times, like for manufacturing various technologies? I mean, like the tin mines in Afghanistan happened to go down the dangerous roads to get it out there into the world for bronze making or whatever. I mean, there's been a history of what would be rare earth metals at the time and needing it for national security issues. So we're at a point now where you've got access to scandium. Seems like a publicly traded company that had a story attached to a byproduct of their very, I don't want to say basic nickel operations, but thanks to climate and leaching and everything, you've got access to it on the surface. So if you could turn what is apparently being set aside, like what happens like when you're refining nickel and we're not capturing the other rare earths that are there? I mean, is it just sitting there in a pile or are you guys shipping off the waste? Like what happens to all that right now?
Yeah, right now it's just waste. And if it goes through specifically the RKF smelter, there's no undoing it at. You've got to do it where it's modular, where it's, say with cobalt right now, they know they're going through the laterite. They first have a separation to take the cobalt out. So you get that out, then you start going for the nickel and other things. Because when you mix these, again, we're going to go back to the word metallurgy. I have witnessed several different companies that claim they can go back to all these tailings. They've got this great new technology. They're going to go in and they're going to get the copper out of it. They're going to get the gold out of it. Yeah, I speak to experts way smarter than I am that say if it goes through that smelter at those high temperatures, you're never undoing that. That is morphed together and done. So you have to do it first. It has to be purpose built. That's why you can't just go back and test on things. You need it right away. So you need to be able to tell yourself, okay, is there a method in which I can take in this example, the laterite, and I can separate the cobalt and then I can separate the scandium, or I have to separate the scandium first and then the cobalt, then throw it through the system to get all, to process into MHP. That takes people that have the highest of PhD. That one of the most challenging things you can do is metallurgy, and it takes time, it takes money. We do have that personnel problem, and the fear that I have is that a lot of them are getting much older, much older, and we're going to see a major brain drain. Because I don't know about you, but for all my years in college and university, I never met one person who went into metallurgy. I never met one person that said, I want to get into making a processing for any type of ore or critical mineral. It starts with education. You have to educate them. Well, I say it starts with education. It starts with the money coming in, getting you need. Then you have to go find the workers who have to train themselves to be there. So it's this loop. You've got to just jump into it. And I think a company that is already in production like ourselves, there is this interesting element of, okay, now that we are profitable and we're not living and dying by the rays and we're growing up, we're getting larger, what can we do with this? How can we grow this? That's something I'm very eager for. I want to be very cautious. That is a blue sky. That is something that is a dream at this point, but it's a dream that has a reality behind it. We just need to see is it economical and can it be done?